Morning, Fractal Effects team. Please make sure you read the disclosure before we start. If you're following along with us today, make sure you're doing a demo account, as this is for educational purposes only. We are not financial advisors, and this is not financial advice. We'll jump onto the charts in a minute. About 2 minutes, 12 seconds away from NYC Open. So here we have the blue zone early entry, and it tapped here. This was a trade that was taken. This tapped at 9:05. So remember, anywhere from 8:30 to pretty much 10 o'clock, we keep an eye open for the blue zone. Any tap there, as long as it fits your model. We have a downside expansion model. We had a sell model. On top of that, we're red across the board. And our blue zone falls right into the fib golden zone. So that was taken, and TP was already hit. Now there's a second one that's reacting off the 20 EMA, and will most likely push past this. That's US 30 on the right. NAS on the left here, 59 seconds from open. There's NAS's blue zone. It was tapped super early at 7 a.m. For NAS, we have a downside expansion model. We had a bit of a mixed model, but it's downside expansion, sell model. And same thing, the blue zone falls within the fib. We were hoping that the market would either draw back up here and then get a rejection and push from here, but we'll see. Remember, this is the only zone we're interested in when it comes to the early entry model. There you go, like this is the zone. Take it from there, already reach your TP. Our goal would be to see if NYC Open, obviously it's going to sweep the lows now. It might just continue pushing down from here, in which case we missed that entry. Now that we've swept the lows, I want to see, because yesterday was such a huge range, and Tuesday we usually set, there's a high probability that Tuesday will set the weekly low. So I want to see if we continue down or if we come back up, and that blue zone is the only area of interest. So if the market comes back up here, I'm interested in taking a sell. US 30 on a tear, already hit its TP. And this is why it's important for you guys to understand the early entry model. Learn it. You can't be, we stream at a specific time. We will start incorporating NYC Open, but this happened 30 minutes before open. Remember, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time all the way to 10 a.m. That's when that blue zone is active. At any point you get a hit and it's in the direction of your bias, bang. Quickest scalp ever. And NAS on a tear. This thing probably will not be coming back. Most likely heading to take out previous day's lows, or there's a 4-hour fair value gap down here. This will most likely be the high for the day. That's how quick open can be. Very volatile. You got to be ready for it. Now, if US 30 draws back up here, and we get a rejection, I'm interested. But once you've already got a couple of taps in the blue zone, and you've taken out majority of the liquidity, there's a chance that it could reverse. That's why you got to watch it carefully to see what it does up here. Now it's giving us a big wick. Let's see if that sticks. 1 minute, 45 seconds left. US 30, trying to come back up to the blue zone. That's a big candle after taking out liquidity. That's why I wouldn't be hesitant to just jump in immediately. You got to see what happens in this zone. Could just want to push past this. Ideally, what we want to see is solid candles. We don't want to see gesticulation happening. For example, right here, no gesticulation. Solid candles punched right through, which let us know that the next time it touched it, it was going to push down. So here, we want to see solid candles punch right through. That means the next time it's going to touch it, it will most likely go up. These are the telltale signs. We're on the 5M time frame. So US 30 already delivered. NAS, as mentioned before, on a tear. We had such a big range yesterday. This thing will most likely run. "17 seconds left for this candle close. There's your NYC fair value gap. Watching it form. The market comes back up here. That could be the sell-off. Interested to see what it does here. Unless it just keeps running, as mentioned before. It's got a lot of liquidity to sweep on the left-hand side. So we got a couple of four-hour fair value gaps down here. We got previous day's low. That's where it's most likely heading. The previous day's low. There's your NYC fair value gap. Once it forms in the next 1 minute 24 seconds, anything that taps in here is fair game to the downside. US 30 again, rejecting off of that. 43 seconds. Told you, it's a powerful zone. The fact that we've already taken one trade from here, I'm not interested. I want to see how this candle reacts. Let's see if there's a foothold on a smaller time frame. 23 seconds, that's a powerful rejection. 11 seconds for our NYC fair value gap to be formed. Now we wait to see if there's a rejection in here. Might even come all the way back up here, tap the 20, and then this red zone before pushing down. But anything in here is fair game. Getting some gesticulation now off that zone. Three minutes left for this candle close. I want to see at least one candle reject off this zone first. Again, might come up here and tap the 20. We don't want to see it get past this red zone. US 30 on a tear. Actually, even a better trade than the one from earlier. So we took this one all the way bottom range, tapped it again. There it goes. And again, this is just to show you, once you match up all the confluence, then you have yourself a high probability trade. We had a downside expansion model, we had a sell model, our EMAs are red, there's our blue zone, and it falls right within our golden zone of 61% and 71%. Rejection, bang, delivery. NAS now back at that fair value gap. I want to see it tap this 20. Ideally, I do not want to see NAS get above here. I doubt we'll make it all the way up to the blue zone. We'll see. Again, if it does come up to the blue zone, we're looking for a sell. There's 30 now. Slowly doing a retracement. There is the New York Fair Value Gap for US 30. So again, this move is even before that forms. We want to see this candle. We got 3 minutes, 20 seconds left. Let's see which side it closes on for NAS. Since NAS dropped, so did the golden zone. We're right at it. Only makes sense for it to reverse here and push down. I want to close below this red zone and then continue down. 1 minute 53 seconds left. Might take out these highs and then close back down. One minute left. Getting a candle wick off of the NYC fair value gap. Might bring us back up into the blue zone. Let's see. Got 7 seconds left. Now it's now pushing through. I want to see it get past an NYC fair value gap there and continue down. US 30. I want to see what it does in that fair value gap. We've already had the blue zone push. Now we're focusing on the red zone. Still just gesticulating. Ideally, we want to see it continue to push down, that being the first target. Let's see, might want to dig deeper. I want to take out these highs, bounce off the 71, even the blue zone. Remember, if it hits the blue zone, we get a wick. We're taking that. The blue zone is good all the way up until 10 o'clock. Sometimes 10:30, but then we slowly start moving into the spotlight strategy, and we want to focus on that. Where there are people that exclusively just trade the early entry model, and then they'll use the spotlight strategy for gold during the Asia session. There's so many ways to stack these different strategies and just make them work and tailor fit them to your schedule. Remember, if you're on the West Coast, this strategy technically takes place between 5:30 a.m. and 7:30. So more than enough time to get things done, do that, and still get off to work. US 30 now, making its way back up to this NYC fair value gap. What we want to see is it stay below this line. Tap here and reject, maybe even touch the 20 wick here, but ideally stay below this green line as far as the candle bodies. We had 1, 2 drops from it. On NAS, we only had 1 tap of the blue zone, and it was at 7 a.m. NYC. Now we're pushing past the NYC fair value gap. 39, 38 seconds left. We'd like to cut right through here. Seven seconds left, currently wicking. Again, we might get one last run to take out these highs. Tap 71%, then push down, but I'd like to see it. There's too much liquidity down here. And today's Tuesday, so usually Tuesday is a high probability, 70% chance that Tuesday will set the low of the week. This was a big, big range we had on Monday. So I'd like to see it push down. The only question is it going to push down from here? Or is it going to do one last sweep and then push down from the blue zone? And there are people who, like, again, they trade this religiously. If it touches the blue zone, they take it. If it never touches it and it pushes down from here, that's it. They don't even attempt to jump in. Sometimes the best trades are the ones you don't even get into. We're now back up here, bouncing off the NYC fair value gap. For US 30, we've had a candle close above NYC fair value gap. So US 30 is already delivered, well, a couple of times. I can already tell you this is a sloppy market. It will, again, the goal is for it to push down. It's going to take its time to push down. It knows that people want to go down. It knows that people are trying to ride it down to take out all the liquidity that was formed yesterday. There's a higher time frame sell model that is occurring. But because of that, they're going to gesticulate this back and forth, sweep out people's highs probably, or their orders, and then push down. That's why the blue zone is a very important area. 1 minute 47 seconds left. Getting a lot of candle rejection here. Now they're engineering new liquidity here. There are people going long from this fair value gap, people going short from here. They're equally as powerful levels. US 30 coming back up to the blue zone. There goes NAS pushing past the NYC fair value gap. 10 seconds left. NAS on a tear now. US 30 bouncing off the 50 EMA. Up between the 50 and the 20. Let's see if it wants to push back up. Now that the blue zone's already delivered, I'd be waiting to see if it's going to push right through. I would not be interested in taking a third sell from here. Not that it couldn't deliver, but we don't like to see too many rejections off the blue zone. US 30 might just use the NYC fair value gap to push up, but we'll see. Could also just push right through. As taking out the lows. We might get another rejection off of here. We're getting a rejection off NYC fair value gap. NAS about to hit that target, that first target. Here's 30 pushing through. We're at 10 o'clock. I'll be transitioning over to the spotlight strategy. So just in recap, US 30 delivered twice. We had two early entry model entries here with the take profit sit down here. Quick scalp, done. Came back, tapped twice. NAS never quite got up to our blue zone, which is fine. So people would not have necessarily taken it, but we also had the golden zone here once the market dropped. We did have this fair value gap here where there was a lot of rejection happening, and we were under the 238 and the 50 EMA. So there was a play here. Quick scalp. Still waiting for it to hit this TP. We'll most likely get a rejection from the fair value gap here off the 20 EMA to take this out. We're red across the board, downside expansion model, sell model. As long as those match up, you're good. There goes US 30. Get rid of these fibs. So now going into the spotlight strategy, obviously we wait for range formation by 10:30. We wait for a confirmation of that range break, and then an extension. Now, as I'd like to see it hit the NYC fair value gap midpoint right there at that red line. Tap the 20, push down to take out this green line. US 30 is already delivered. And then we'll wait for range formation and then a confirmation to see if it wants to continue moving down, or if we get a bullish confirmation, in which case we will ride it back up to hit the blue zone if there's enough RR there. Nah, still gesticulating. Didn't quite tap the NYC fair value gap, but we're getting some reaction off this fair value gap. Might draw in a little closer, tap that 20 before pushing down. So US 30 is already delivered on the early. We're also waiting for other confirmation. If we get a confirmation, now that we've switched over to the spotlight strategy, as soon as we get a confirmation from one of our assets, we'll jump on over there. But just a quick recap, US 30 on the right, we got our early entry model, blue zone. That hit at 9:05 Eastern Standard, and then we had a second one at 9:35 at open. It tapped. That was our target. Punched it, punched through it again. So US 30 is already delivered on the early entry. And the NAS is close to delivering here. Even though we didn't hit the early entry blue model up there, this was the fair value gap of interest, bounced off of it, with that being the target. It might pull back into this NYC fair value gap, tap off the 20 to really give us a push past the finish line. And then the fact that we're at 10:15 now, we're officially switching over to the spotlight strategy. So we're going to wait for range formation, 10:30. We're going to wait for confirmation, retracement, extension. That's the model we're going to focus on. So this is going to be part of the next indicator. As a matter of fact, it'll be its own indicator. So it is specifically the early entry model. Before this, it was actually just being drawn by hand, and we show you that in the Learning Hub. But now the indicator itself will have, and we'll update those videos as well on the indicator this week, most likely by this weekend. So now this new indicator will have the early entry model already lined out for you, the blue zone, we call it. And all you wait for is once you've done your full assessment and you know that, hey, we have a downside expansion model, we have a sell model, we're red on the EMAs on this lower time frames, 15, 5, 1, then you feel comfortable, and there you go. NAS just delivering now, done. So even though NAS didn't come up into the blue zone itself, as mentioned before, what we did was we took all other confluences. We knew that it was a downside expansion model, it was a sell model. We were red on the EMAs, and we were right in our golden zone with a fair value gap right here. Just wanted to check if this was proper 1 to 3. No, 3.52. I 'Guess this is the problem with going live at New York. once your early model's been delivered, you still got 20-30 minutes until the spotlight confirmation. So you got about 10 more minutes before our range is fully completed. And then we have to wait for confirmation, whether it's on US 30, NAS, or on any of our other assets. For NAS, again, most likely just a down day to take out previous day's lows. So there's a fair value, 4-hour fair value gap below. So now it's continuing to push down. About 8 minutes left until range formation. US 30, we are red across the board. Tight range. A lot of consolidation here. This is what you don't like to see. You know what I mean? When you see, anytime you see a this much disrespect of fair value gaps, it's just straight consolidation. We had a fair value gap in here. Market disrespected it, created a fair value gap here. Disrespected it, created a fair value gap here. Disrespected it. That's just consolidation. What you want to see is as soon as a fair value gap is created, market touch it, create another fair value gap in the same direction. That's when you know you're trending. This kind of consolidation, it's not worth trading. So obviously we got in through the early model and got out. I'll leave that green line up here just to let you guys know where our TP was. Blue zone was our entry. Quick scalp, 3 candles, we're out. 4 candles, I guess. Came back up, tapped it again, straight down through. For NAS, the early entry was technically here. About 5 minutes from range formation. Two minutes till range formation. US 30 looking ugly now, just back and forth. As soon as we get a confirmation on another pair or another asset, we'll jump on over there. There we have range formation. Now let's see if we get confirmation on either side. For NAS, ideally we'd like to get a bearish confirmation. Same thing for US 30. We have a downside expansion model, sell model. We're below the blue zone. We get a bearish confirmation. I'm pretty sure we'll just push from here, stay under here, most likely off the New York fair value gap. For NAS, I'd like to ideally stay below 21,986, let's say. 20. Here, essentially. I'd like to tap that 20 and keep pushing down. Might sweep these highs, but let's see. No confirmation across any other asset yet. Still waiting for confirmation. No confirmation across any asset yet. For NAS, we might just push from here. Close to getting a confirmation. 3 minutes, 24 seconds left. Ideally, I'd like to see it come back up here, tap that 20, then push down. We could get a confirmation, and then it pulls back. Now slowly making its way back up to the 20 EMA. US 30 pushing down. Let's see if we get a confirmation here on the next couple of candles. US 30 moving back towards NYC fair value gap. We're back at that 20 EMA now. Let's see if we get a push down from here. Getting a strong push there now. Let's see if we get that bearish confirmation. About 15 minutes till 11. No confirmation on any assets yet. Back at the NYC fair value gap for US 30. Let's see if we bounce off this 20 and get that bearish confirmation as well. Again, US 30 bouncing off the 20 EMA in that New York fair value gap, waiting for a bearish confirmation. NAS as well, bouncing off of the 20 EMA. We got 1 minute 41 seconds left. I want to see NAS driving down. NAS right at that 20 EMA. 30 seconds left. Both markets just stalled here. 10 minutes to 11. NAS pushing up now. US 30 actually looks like it wants to push down now, give us that bearish confirmation. We've had an early retracement already. So when we do get this bearish confirmation, NAS will be moving quick, most likely off the first fair value gap that's presented to it, down to 1 standard deviation. NAS still at that 20 EMA, right under the New York fair value gap. It's at a pivotal zone. And I'd like to see it push down from here, give us that bearish confirmation. There comes US 30. Hopefully we get a confirmation in the next 2 candles. Hopefully this fair value gap stays open when it's being created. 1 minute, 20 seconds left. Let's see if we stay below this green line in this 20 EMA, or if we push through it. Now is now above the 20, heading for the New York fair value gap. But we don't want to see it get above the New York fair value gap. If all of a sudden this is a full reversal to the upside, we're not interested. Not looking for a bullish confirmation. Want to see a bearish confirmation out of NAS. US 30, same thing. We want to see a bearish confirmation in the next couple of candles. It's taking its time. Let's see if any of these fair value gaps stay open. I want to see this one remain open or another one be created here as it continues to push down. NAS right near the golden zone, 61%, right at it pretty much. We want to see a push down from here. Getting some reaction here on NAS. I want to see it again continue to push down from here. We want to get a bearish confirmation all the way down. There's a 4-hour fair value gap down here. Monday's lows. Tuesday usually sets the low for the week, 70% chance that it's going to. Everything about this narrative is telling us that it wants to push down. So that's the only thing we're interested in, is a sell. But first we need to get that bearish confirmation. Same thing on US 30, not interested in a buy. Want to see that bearish confirmation. Want to see that push down. NAS once again trying to make that push up. most likely to the 61% and the midpoint of the New York fair value gap, maybe even bounce off the 50, but we do not want to see it get over the midpoint of this New York fair value gap. Now still floating in the golden zone. Back at the New York fair value gap, near the 50 midpoint. See what it does here. Again, we're right at the 61%. There's nothing about this market that makes me think it wants to push up or that we care to let it push up right now. So if we get a bullish confirmation, we're not even interested. I really don't want to see it get past the midpoint of this fair value gap. I want to see it just continue to push down from here. Same thing with US 30, just gesticulating back and forth. This has actually become an ugly market, not one that I'm interested in. As mentioned before, when you have this many fair value gaps being violated back and forth, that's just consolidation. You don't want any part of this. So even if we get a bearish confirmation, we'll most likely pass on this, unless it looks ridiculously obvious. About 2 minutes 32 seconds left in this candle close. I would like to see it just push from here. And then people usually ask, like, what happens if during the, or after you get range formation and the market taps here, if you get a rejection from the blue zone, as long as it fits the narrative and the bias, then you can actually take it. So if we got a bearish confirmation, for example, and it came back up and it tapped here, but didn't close above that line, didn't give us a false day, you can actually take that first sell. We're getting a rejection now. 1 minute, 21 seconds left. Let's see if it holds. I want to push down past the 20, then use that to displace down here. Hopefully we get out of the range today. As mentioned before, yesterday was a big range day. Only makes sense that they want to close up some of that liquidity, take up some of that liquidity, I should say. But keep in mind the way the market moves. In a minute here, before we see any kind of push. Here's NAS on a 15-minute time frame. The way the market moves, these bigger institutions, they can't drop. They're buying millions and millions of dollars, billions of dollars. They can't just enter a position all at the same time. So what they'll do is they'll open positions here. So they created a sell here. Market went up. They created a sell here. That's where these order blocks came from. Market went up. They created a sell here. And then this is their big sell that they do, the actual reversal. And in doing so, this is where they make majority of their money. And as the market comes back down, they close their position here. They close their position here. They close their position here. That's the goal. So right now, they have a lot of open positions here. We're trying to push down. There's also a 4-hour fair value gap. That's our target. So we're starting to get that push now. Jump back onto the 5M. Let's see. So far, just a lot of wicking. But because they had such a big move, from yesterday, they might not want to bring it all the way back down. They might want to gesticulate, take out some highs, and then come back. So that's why we're waiting and watching. Back at that fair value gap after a big wick here. This is not the best sign. But again, as mentioned before, I don't want to see it get past that fair value gap. If their goal is to drive it back up to take out these highs from the early entry and then push it down, and if we get a bullish confirmation, we're not interested. And we have tapped the 20, the 50. And we're still under the fair value gap. I'd like to stay down below this midpoint. Right now we're right at top of it. and they drive it up this high. They don't want people to be short. As mentioned before, they have to close off those positions. So they don't want you to be short, and in order to keep you from going short, they keep having these push-ups. They'll take out that liquidity. They'll take out your stops. There it goes. You take the bigger fib. We're right at 61% here as well. So again, they could take out these highs and push down. I don't see it getting higher than here. Doesn't make any sense for them to drive it up any higher. Unless they get all the way up to that blue zone just to rattle people. But this market wants to push down. There's nothing in this market that makes me want to buy this right now. A little over 15 minutes left. Nothing of interest here yet at all. Only looking for bearish confirmations. Remember, today's Tuesday. There's a 70% chance that Tuesday sets the low of the week. We have a downside expansion model, sell model. Everything is bearish. We got a red box. Only makes sense that we get a bearish confirmation. Bullish confirmation and we're out. A lot of sell side liquidity sitting down here. Now still driving up. We're almost top range here. Back at the New York Fair Valley Gap. Now the other side of that consequence encroachment. Ideally, we would like to see it punch right through this late in the game. I don't know if it's going to. Let's see. Might want to take out those highs. .42 seconds left. 10 minutes left in our stream. Watch these next couple of candles. Fortunately, we did not get a confirmation. We did get one on oil. Came a little late. So tomorrow is FOMC. We have the press conference, the statement. We also have crude oil inventories, and we have some minor news dropping at 8:30. So pretty much the entire day is a news day. There's going to be a lot of gesticulation back and forth. So we'll be live tomorrow. At 10:30, and we'll be doing mostly some educational stuff. You got to know when to stay out of the markets, though. Just tomorrow, there's nothing. We can't trade oil, crude oil inventories, FOMC. It's going to be a crazy day, most likely consolidating during the morning, and then a bigger move, obviously, when FOMC press conference happens later in the, later in the afternoon. NAS still at that New York fair value gap midpoint. US 30 just absolutely consolidating. Did not do anything. So just a quick recap. We had our early entry model. That was the only successful moves today. US 30 was a textbook example. Downside expansion model, sell model. And we go over the specific expansion models and buy and sell model. You want to line them up. You want to make sure you have a downside expansion model and a sell model. If you have a buy model and a downside expansion model, things get a little hairy. There's still a way to trade it, but best confluence is when they match up. Your EMAs match up, and you enter the blue zone between the allotted time, which is 8:30 to 10 o'clock, possibly up to 10:30 even. We had a trade there, hit our TP, second entry, also hit. Now for NAS, we had a downside expansion model, sell model. We were red across the board. Unfortunately, it didn't retrace all the way back up to our blue zone. So we took the fib and it fell into this zone here, this red zone. And we saw all this gesticulation, which still gave us more of a narrative and a bias that this thing was going to push down. So that was the first target right there. Took a while to hit. So you would have either taken this red zone trade or no trade at all because it didn't enter your blue zone. So you would have been safe. But that's the early entry model. And we had no confirmation so far on either asset. And that's because, again, it is FOMC tomorrow. So you'll see a lot of consolidation, gesticulation back and forth before FOMC. We will conclude our session there. Please check us out on fractaleffects.com where we teach high probability trading. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, turn on your notifications. As we progress, moving forward again, we will have more and more of these live sessions, just not on days where we have heavy news days. We'll obviously be maneuvering the best we can, and then we'll let you know ahead of time if we're going to be early or if we're going to be going on at the regular time of the spotlight confirmation. So tomorrow, as mentioned before, we will be on at 10:30, and it'll be mostly education as there is heavy news, and we'll show you similar models as to what we've showed you today, just how to maneuver the markets.